Welcome to Dobby's Repairs. I'm Dobby the Fixing Elf. In this video I'll show you how to replace the ignition coil on a Mark II Ford C-Max with a 1.6 petrol engine. This is quite a straightforward job, but one will help keep your C-Max running at its best. I'll also show you a few tips and tricks to help this job go smoothly, so grab your tools and let's get fixing. So the first step is to remove the cover over the battery. We're going to disconnect the negative battery terminal. When you work on electrics on cars, you should always disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. Just helps keep everything safe. So it says 10mm, you can't really see it here. I'm going to loosen it up and take it off. Fairly straightforward. And there we have got it off. We're going to pop it safely out of the way so it can't reconnect to the battery. Now here's the coil pack that we're going to be replacing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark the coil plugs, the coil leads, I say. So I'm just marking them 1 to 4. And so I remember which order to put them back in later on. You can also take a picture of this once you've done it so you know you've got them back in the right order. I highly recommend doing that so you don't get confused and put them in the wrong order and damage the engine. Once they're all marked up, as you can see, 1 to 4, very simple. You can remove them. They can be a bit stiff sometimes. Just have to give them a gentle tug and pop them off. Doesn't really matter which order you take them off in. Whatever's easiest for you. Yeah, we've got the last one to come off now. There we go. It should be popping off any second. As I said, they can get really stiff. I do have a video on replacing the ignition coils. I'll pop that up in the top corner so you can watch that if you'd like. Now we've got them all off, we're just going to disconnect the coil pack from the main wiring harness. So just a little one down here, just give it a gentle squeeze and pull it and it'll pop off. Sometimes it can be a bit stiff, but this one come off really nice and easily. Now I'm going to remove 4 T25 screws that hold it in. There should be 4, there's only 3 on this particular one, one is missing. But yeah, just break them loose with a T25. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky, but these ones are coming out really nicely. If they are tricky, just use a bigger ratchet, that always helps. And just be careful to put a lot of pressure on them so they don't round out. Sometimes they can be quite rusty. As you can see just then, I had the missing one. I'm just going to work the rest of these out. It's a fairly straightforward removal of these. And that's one out now. We'll get the other 2 out that are left. Again, just running them out by hand. You see, they're fairly long screws. And they are quite rusty, as you can see. But as long as you clear the hole out first and give it plenty of pressure, downward pressure when you're starting it, you'll be fine. They can also be 8mm bolts as well on some models of these Ford C-Maxes, but this one's a T25 Torx. We'll get the last screw out now. There we go, that one's out, and now we just need to remove the coil pack itself. Fairly straightforward process. Just lift it out, unhook it round, and there we go. And now we can compare it to the new one, so here's the new one in a box. You just open the box and just make sure all the connections line up as they should. Just give it a general visual inspection, make sure it looks pretty good. The old coil pack here had some corrosion on it. Ignition coil, should I say. The same thing really. And yeah, that's already going. So now we can wiggle it back into place. And put our screws back in. Again, this is a fairly straightforward process. And this whole job only took about 10 minutes to do, so it's quite a quick and easy one. This car was suffering from a slight misfire, caused by the coil pack failing under heat and load. But you'll go back in fairly simply and easily. There we go. I should also mention I did spray a bit of contact cleaner in the connector of the coil pack to the main wiring loom, which we'll put back on in just a moment. Okay, tighten these down all the way now. You don't have to be super tight, just hand tight is good enough. You don't actually hold anything down, just make sure you get them snug down nicely. Yeah, this is the last one we're going down now. There we go. I sped things up so you know we're going to sit through it all. Now I'm going to put the coil leads back in. Remember that we marked them up. So we'll quickly flick them around until we find the right ones. So I'm going to put number 1 back on. They can be a bit stiff going back on as well. Just have to gently wiggle them until you get them into the right place. And the marker pen I use does wear off after a little while. It can rub off, so be careful. Here's number 2 going back on now. And then we'll get number 3 back on. And then we'll get number 4 back on. And there we go. That's all the coil plugs back in. Ignition coil, should I say. There we are, we're happy with that. Now we're going to connect the wiring loom harness back together. The wiring harness, I say, back onto the coil pack. Again, I just spray it with some contact cleaner, as I said earlier. And that just pushes back on and clicks into place. And now I've got everything back connected. We'll just double check all our connections, make sure nothing's loose. And just give it a quick wiggle, make sure they're all down and seated properly. Now I'm going to pop the negative terminal back onto the battery. As you can see, fairly straightforward. It's already in place, and we can tighten it down. I always like to start it by hand, just to make sure it's nice and secure. And we'll just tighten it down. Fairly straightforward. As you can see, right at the back on these, you do need a thin spanner or a little ratchet like I've got here. And now we're going to pop the cover back on. It goes on fairly easily, as you can see here. And once it's back on, we're going to give the engine a nice test start, make sure everything works as it should. So just move the camera for you. Yeah, it's a fairly straightforward process. If you found it helpful, drop a like and subscribe if you're new. And that's how you change the ignition coil on a Mark II Ford C-Max with a 1.6 petrol engine. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps both the channel and me out. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I post 2 videos a week, so by subscribing, you'll never miss a thing. Got any questions or suggestions? Drop a comment down below, and I'll do my best to reply to everyone. Here at Dobby Repairs, we're all about helping you learn how to work on your vehicle safely and showing you don't need to spend a fortune on tools to get the job done. Want to support the channel further? Become a member, starting at just 99p. Members get perks like early access to videos and more exclusive content. Keep fixing, and I'll see you in the next one.